Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Drew Story News podcast. This episode is probably going to be pleasing as far as audio is concerned. This is going to be pretty pristine because this is actually where the magic happens. This is where I produce professional voiceovers for radio, TV, video games, all that stuff. I kind of built this booth in my new place, and it's kind of very cool. There was a room in the bedroom because there's already two big closets full of space, and then there's another room in the bedroom that was just, I'm looking at it. Like, I remember when the guy was showing me the place, I was looking at it and I just kind of smiled because I knew that was my voiceover room, you know. So here we are, and so you're going to hear a very clean video. So yeah, there's a lot to talk about. I'm kind of making up for lost time. I was not able to record. So what I'm going to talk about in this video is watch how they're switching the narrative. They're changing the narrative, and they're already doing damage control. You know, I kind of talked about it in a video that I put out exclusively for Rockfin. I was on the beach, and I'm kind of doing new routines now. I live 5 minutes from the beach, so I'm having early morning walks or night walks on the beach, and it so recharges me. It I just really recharge, and it's really good. And one time I actually did a video on the beach in the morning, and I tried that out. Didn't really go as well as I intended because, there's other issues, but I'm loving where I'm at right now, and being able to be out in nature, specifically the beach. I love it. But I digress again. Switching the narrative. Powers that be are doing damage control, and they're already trying to, change the narratives, protect the narrative, and the deception is so obvious at this point that the people who are still waiting for the system to, show that they were on the right side of history. I'm sorry, that's just not going to happen. A lot of normie friends and family they're still on that BS, and they can't wake up. But what happened? All the focus is shifted towards war. Because, you know what, the juice thing and the virus thing is not holding its weight anymore. That story is collapsing. To hold your attention, to hold the collective consciousness hostage, it's not working anymore. It's failing, and it's, people are waking up out of that program. So there's a new program, and there's a new, thing to dominate the news cycles, and no one's really talking about that stuff anymore. But they're already prepping the damage control. In fact, a lot of people are starting to wake up, and they're blatantly withholding information. They're not releasing the data. So they coerced all these people to do this thing. And people like myself and many other people were out there saying, hang on a second. This might not be what you think it is. There's something to be very cautious. Never in history, like when people have been so duped, when has the government been the good guys? Never. When has Big Pharma been the good guys? Never. But for whatever reason, people just went with the government and pharma. Well, the chickens are coming home to roost. And there's people coming out with claims that, hey, I got side effects. And matter of fact, somebody was on my Facebook page, Drew Story News Facebook page, posting that stuff, saying, yeah, there's lots of people in the thousands coming out saying, hey, but I hate to say, you should have known. You should have known to use a little discernment. And, I hate to hear these things. I knew it. That's why I was so passionately trying to stop people, because I don't want people to get hurt. I don't want people to be tricked and fooled. I don't want people to be taken advantage of by pharma or the government. But these people, they trust foolishness. Our people suffer for lack of knowledge. And, those who don't hear must feel. If you don't have discernment, you can't, so yeah, this case is coming in. There's people realizing, hey, the common sense is coming in now that they're trying to fight to get to find out if some entity is liable, and they're realizing, no one was liable. That's what Lord of mercy. That's what we've been trying to tell you for years now, literally for years now. Nobody's they fought for immunity, and they're immune. And they gave you an experimental concoction. Those of you, not everybody, those of you who took it, it was experimental. So you should have understood that there's risk with something experimental. There is no 10-year study. There is no 5, 10, 20-year study. There is no 1 year. There's barely a year study. They've made all these excuses. Well, it was based on previously existing concoctions that we know that, and everyone, took comfort in lies and bullshit for the past 3 years. And now it's going to come in hard. So this is what they're doing. They're lying and they're holding the information. They're not releasing the data because they're letting everyone realize clear as day that you live in an authoritarian, totalitarian, fascist regime in every country, and they're deciding what you can and can't hear. They're holding the information. And this is from the New York Times. I'm going to read a little bit of this. The CDC isn't publishing large portions of C-word data it collects. This is from the CDC. All right. Probably invert that for you so that you can see it. The agency has withheld critical data on boosters, hospitalizations, and, until recently, wastewater analyses. Dr. David Kessler, Chief Science Officer of the White House, C-word response, and Dr. Rochelle Walensky, Director of the Center for Disease Control and Prevention at a House Committee, blah, 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 blah. For more than a year, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has collected data on hospitalizations for C-word in the United States and broken it down by age, race, and B-word status. But it has not made most of the information public. Oh yeah, that's trustworthy, right? When the CDC published the first significant data on the effectiveness of boosters in adults younger than 65 2 weeks ago, it left out the numbers for a huge portion of that population. Let me repeat this. When the CDC published the first significant data on the effectiveness of boosters in adults younger than 65 2 weeks ago, it left out the numbers for a huge portion of that population, 18 to 49-year-olds, the group least likely to benefit from extra shots, because the first 2 doses already left them. You know what? Let me stop there. You have people realizing that the system is evil, and they duped a lot of people, and now they're not releasing data, and there's people who still trust. There's people who still trust and believe. And a good question is, how do we, bring the spirit of revolution, cultural revolution, to our friends and family, especially our normie friends and family? We are to be non-compliant with an evil system. It's becoming apparent to more and more people that this was never good. And there's some people still stuck. And we are not to comply. And there's a way to break your friends in. There's a way to break your friends in by non-compliance. I have a friend, I have 2 stories regarding this friend. She's a neighbor now. And, she said to me because she was going to pick me up from the airport, and she said, would you mind, wearing a mask or something about a mask? And I was like, you know what? I think I'll grab an Uber. no need for fighting. No need for, I'm not going to comply. I'm not going to validate your mental illness. Asking me about a mask at this point to pick me up is stupid. It's not an intelligent thing to say. It's not based on science. And I'm not going to co-create with you. When you talk gibberish and you're not speaking English, I'm not going to respond as if you said nothing wrong. I'm not going to have you pick me up if you're telling me to wear a mask. It's just, people are doing things without rhyme or reason. It's their psychosis that has got them in autopilot. They're not going to wake up and realize that they've been lied to every step of the way. The things that they've been told were lies. I had, there's people in my life, if I try to explain things to them, because there's an absence of logic and reason, and I show them things from me talking and my blogs, like, yo, here, look at the date. I've been talking about this since 2009, 2010. Look at this video. This is from 2010, way before this pandemic. There were people in communities talking about what the elites had in mind, what they were going to do. And a lot of it was masks, temperature checks. They were talking about scenarios, just in case. So before the existence of this virus, the things that they have people doing now, they designed for you to do. It was a program, it was a plan, and you can't get people to use logic and reason. And then you show them the dates. Like, listen, we were talking about this. We knew this. They planned this thing. And what you're doing is not based on science. It's not based in logic and reason. It is a program. And you cannot, rescue yourself from this demonic system that has a hold on so many people's mind. And you have to wake them up with a spirit of non-compliance. Another story involving this friend. She loves me to death. She was my friend for many decades, and she, a lot of my friends in my life, they're very protective of me when it comes to certain things, and they know me like I'm not. There's certain things I do and certain things I won't do, and this friend is a neighbor now. Like, I moved in her neighborhood, and she's coming around again. She's like hanging around every other day. She comes by and she's really ecstatic that I'm in the neighborhood. And, she's very like, a lot of the, female friends, they're very motherly. And she saw this thing on my head and she freaked out. And she's like, oh, you got to get this thing checked out, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, God, here we go. The normie stuff is going to go off in full swing now. Here we go. I did not want to go to the doctor, and I didn't want that unnecessary expense. And once she gets something in her head, she's just going to jump at it. And she did not quit. And she's going on and on and on. She saw this growth on my head and she wouldn't stop. On and on. I love you and you, blah, blah, blah. I just got something removed that thank God I got it removed when I did, because it was cancerous, which is true. She did get something removed that could have been cancerous. And that's part of the reason why she was so fired up. And I acknowledged that. I'm not a fool. And like, I respond very good to logic, even if I don't agree with you. If you are winning the logical argument, or you just, not that you're competing with me, but you just have a logical point, and she just had something removed that was cancerous, she was like, okay. As much as like, normie friends don't understand your spiritual gut instincts, and I knew that I was fine, and I knew that I did not want to walk into pharmacia scenarios, and I did not want to go to a doctor's office. I couldn't deny the logic of what she was saying. I just, you can never be too sure, and I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to waste my time. I didn't want to waste my money. I did not want to go. And she knew that, and she kept hounding me, and I have a lot of strong people in my life. The women in my life, they're very powerful people, and you can't tell them no, can't shut them down. Kept calling about it. And then she calls me again, like for the 5th time in the same day. Did you go? Did you do this? Did you do that? And I'm like, ready to give her my BS. And I'm like, wait, hello? She patched me into the doctor's office. While on the phone with her, like, while I'm about to give her an excuse why I didn't go, she patched me in. I'm like, oh, God. So I had to make the doctor's appointment with her live on the phone, and I had to go in that day. So I go in to the doctor because I had no choice. Like, once, some of the people in my life, there's nothing I could do. I had to go. And she had a logical high ground, but I knew what it was all about. So I go to the doctor's office. I'm already not happy that I have to do this because, a friend is making me do this. I walk in. Here we go. I'm the only one without a mask. Everyone's wearing a mask. Everyone's sitting there, and I could feel the eyes on me. And I'm just assuming, I don't know, but it's like I'm feeling like, oh, the normie sheep are like, gosh, he's not wearing a mask. I'm feeling that kind of energy. I have a big energy when I walk into a room, and I was kind of feeling that. I don't know if I was feeling that or I was assuming that, but I'm not going to participate in the mental illness and the societal madness of the day. I'm not. So I sit down and I'm waiting, and I don't want to be there. And everyone was nice, actually. They, even though I felt like they looked at me when I walked in, and I was clearly not wearing a mask as everybody was. And, the staff eventually tell me to wear a mask. I'm like, I'm good. I'm okay. And they're like, no, you really need it. Like, these people are not operating with any brain function at this point. It's just complete brain damage. There's no scientific basis for what they're saying, including the medical staff. This is not how we handle viruses, but they have not the acuity to, suss this out. And it's a pointless endeavor to try to debate, to make a case for yourself. They don't even understand that legally, constitutionally, they can't ask me to do this. When it's not based, when there's no clear emergency, when it's not based on anything, they're fried. Their minds are fried, and you're dealing with this psychosis, and they're not going to relent. So I had to submit, and I just put it on my chin. I didn't put it on. But I'm already seeing the environment, the new environment that we have to prepare ourselves for. And there's a normie argument of why not just do it? Okay, you believe your conspiracies, and you have a right to believe what you believe. But what's the big deal? Why not just wear it? This is a very well used normie argument. Because normies have no clue about anything. They just don't know anything, and they don't know what's going on, and they don't understand that is the heart of the problem. Blind compliance to the beast system is what keeps everything in play. This kind of mindlessness and weakness and compliance to an evil agenda that was disingenuous from the start is what keeps the ball getting kicked down the road. Like, who knows? Your grandkids could be going to school in hazmat suits. Hey, what's going on, Steve? I'm doing all right, Bill. Like, because it's normal for them, because we've set the groundwork to be brainless sheep that just follow orders. Compliance is the key for them. This is what they want. No rhyme or reason behind what you're doing. No respect for your sovereignty. No respect for your personal space, your freedoms. Just do as you are told. They are socially engineering your compliance, and normie mind can't compute this. Just wear the mask. This is what they'll say. They don't understand that the minute people rise up and collectively stop complying, that's what shifts everything. And you'll find out so many things will get exposed. So many things will stop. So many things will change once people wake the hell up. But I'm stuck in this system, and I'm outnumbered, and they're frustrated. You can see the staff. They're looking at. I'm not a bad person. I'm not an asshole. I'm a good person, and I have good energy, and I have a very kind heart. And But they can't see that right now because they're programmed in sheep mode, and they're frustrated with me because they are working for the beast demonic system, and they want their rules followed in the beast demonic system. Any regime you interview people, if you were to revive them from the dead and ask them there, they'll just tell you, like Nazi Germany, anywhere in history where there's things kind of got out of control. But in the infancy stages, why did you do this? Why did you do that? Well, we were just following orders. When Nazi Germany, when they started to hand out the gold stars, they weren't immediately throwing people in gas chambers just yet. Things were happening in increments, and they just walking around like normie sheep do, and they were just following orders. Here we are. People just love to obey and comply. This is the world we're living in. Non-compliance. So I went to this thing. I'm not wearing the thing. I'm not cooperating. And then just to keep the peace, because I'm there, I have no problem walking out and saying, no, I'm not wearing this thing. I would have done that. But because I was there, because a friend who loves me was wanting me to do something, I was doing it for her. And my word is bond. When I promise something, I'm going to do it. And I know she was going to blow up my phone after anyway. So I had to report that, yeah, I got this thing done. So I went and I put the damn thing on, but I didn't put it on my face because I'm not taking part in rituals. It's not what I do. And they see me, and I just, the energy was wrong. The energy was weird. I shouldn't be there. And I'm just like asking a lot of questions. And I said, well, listen, I don't want to be here. I don't think anything's wrong. I'm only here to find out because my friend forced me to come. My friend, she's a worry wart, and made me come to this thing. She wants to find out if this thing on my head is cancerous. That's all I need to know. And they're looking at me like, and I show them, and they won't tell me anything. They just wanted my credit card. And they're just looking at me weird. I'm in the pharmacia. The system is not set up the way it's supposed to be. And I, as a source player, I'm in there. The energy's not right because I'm not being helped as I should be helped. It's about the money. It's about profit. It's about pharmacia. And they're looking at me all weird, and they wanted me to wear a mask. They're all like weird sim people. And, the energy's off because they had problems with me wearing, behaving like a normal sheep that they're used to. And so that energy was weird. And I'm looking at them plain as day, talking to them like a real player, like a real person. I don't really need anything. I'm healthy. I'm in perfect health. There's just this thing, this friend wants me to come. Someone could have just checked it out. It's like, go home. Now, it's just like, they just look at you with this weird faces and like, the weird corporate faces, and we're not going to do anything for you. We're not going to tell anything until we run your card. And so I did. And they charged me $1.50. And then, 5 minutes later, a doctor came out, looked at my head, said, you're good. I'm like, sign my card. Thank you, friend. Like, this is the system. And I just decided for myself, I don't want to be in that position again. Stay out of the doctors as I'm just going to stay out of those offices. And no offense to people in the medical, there's different types of doctors. Psychology is going to be a big one. Psychology is going to be a huge one in the future. So there's going to be a lot of people who need psychological assistance. There's people who work with the body, chiropractors. There's people who, all those services, and I know people who work in the medical industry who are beautiful people. So with the exception of you guys, it's a good idea to kind of just stay out of that scene because it's a drug pushing environment. It's a pharmacia. A lot of the spirit is not in the right spirit of what it should be. But anyway, I say all this to say, yeah, moving forward, how do we continue to move society forward with this new energy, with this new world? Non-compliance, like that same friend that wanted to pick me up talking about a mask. No need for fighting. Just, no, thank you. I'll just grab an Uber or grab a cab. Non-compliance. There's a lot of people who don't want to admit what's happening. They still, at this late stage, don't want to admit what's happening. And I don't let up on them. And it's not to chastise. It's not to, drag people emotionally. It's not to beat up on people, but it's to break the programming. It's to break the programming. Listen, no. And when you talk to people, they still want to protect the government. It's the craziest thing. The way they speak, they still want to, protect the politicians and speak for them. Well, Biden, they keep making excuses for the pharmaceutical companies and politicians in power and the system. They keep protecting the system. Don't take that boot off their neck. That's the only way we're going to move forward as a society, is if we deal with reality and call a spade a spade. Do not comply with their nonsense. Do not comply with, I don't want to pick on the same friend. I'll mention someone else or a different scenario. But there's people who will try to bring you down to that lower vibration. Don't let them bring you down. Don't let them bring you to that place where you're rationalizing insanity again. What happened to society was insane. It was a plan that they've planned this thing for a long time. Don't let your friends and family bring you down. You're vibrationally down to normalizing the madness, because we're waking up out of it. There's such a strong, powerful mass awakening. And I have a family member who's starting to realize, and he was, a part of the pro, crowd initially, and, he got it. But there's a lot of people who are like, if you're a smart person, there's only so long you got before you start putting two and two together and realizing, okay. And he's starting to realize, okay, this booster thing is kind of a racket. They just keep coming out with boosters, and you got to keep coming back. And, slowly but surely, people keep waking up. Like, wait a minute, even the most pro-jab people have to admit something's not right. Something's not right. And we need to move along. We need to move society along. Because let me tell you, what's coming down the pike is a lot of stuff. They're doing, they're beefing up surveillance. They're beefing up data tracking. They're beefing up data tracking. Lots of information coming out about that. Basically, a lot of things that people have been telling society or trying to and getting censored for it are coming to pass. It's happening. And, why we need to keep the foot on the normies is because they're holding it back. They're helping the beast system thrive because they're in denial. And why are they in denial? Is a lot of people have to rise out of their ego. I've tried to work with myself and to check my ego. And I've seen people fall to their ego. People in my life, source players, people fall victim to their pain, to being hurt, to being their emotions, their feelings, and they make wrong, permanent, bad decisions because they're in their feelings, they're in their emotions, and they make decisions in spite, in anger, in resentment, in low vibrational energies. And people are going to lose out. Going to lose out on relationships, going to lose out on things. There's a whole different movie that plays out when you operate in your lower vibration and you don't check yourself. And yeah, there's a lot of things that I give messages from my own perspective, but I still tell people the truth. I check myself. I think about it. I clear my head, clear my conscience, and make sure that even though I'm speaking from my own perspective, I make sure that I'm a conduit of sorts and I'm speaking a message of truth, and you either take it or leave it. I'm telling you the truth. And people live in their lower vibration and make decisions in their lower vibrations and haven't conquered their feelings. And they're too proud. They're too proud. And you have a lot of people who they're going to miss out on a lot of things, and they're going to destroy a lot of things. And it's going to take 10 years, 20 years to realize, you know what? The hell was the matter with me? Why did I take things so personally? And you have people who are doing that with this narrative. They don't want to admit fault. They don't want to realize if they were so pro-jab initially, they don't want to turn around now and say, hey, wow, everything that I believed was not correct. All the people that I've argued with, they were right. I was wrong. And when you're too stuck in the ego, you're going to destroy yourself. You're going to destroy your life. You're going to destroy you're never going to wake up to the truth. You're never going to listen to the message of truth. You're never going to be receptive to the message of truth because you were so hard-headed and I choose to believe this, or I'm angry and I want to, you're manipulating reality and you're creating the reality that you want. And not in a good way. There's a good way to create reality and manifest things. But when you're in your lower self and your lower emotions and you're too emotional in your lower emotions and lower vibrational emotions, you're not doing good work. You're not doing alchemy. You're not manifesting good things. You're doing bad things, bringing about bad things. And these people who are in their ego, they're going to be the hardest to reach, the hardest to wake up. So don't let them, they want to go back to sleep so bad. They want to wake up in a world where the politicians are leading them and keeping them safe. And they want to wake up in a world where the healthcare industry was always right all along. And they want to believe their delusions. Don't let them. Now the world is at war. And collectively they're putting out all this war propaganda now. There's some stories, a lot of them came back as fake, about Ukrainians dying, and they're trying to appeal to the mass consciousness now with this war agenda. Is it real? Yeah. I mean, Russia is doing what it's doing, but we are to be very careful not to give in to emotion, not to give into emotion. That download is coming to me in many different ways, forms, through different people. We are reflections of each other. And, a lot of people don't understand that. What's happening to you or your friend is happening to me as well. Like, we're in different, I won't get too deep because it's hard to explain to people, but we are different fractals of source. And, we are extensions of each other. That's why, when you're in your lower vibration, you don't think from the other person's perspective because you think you're different and you're not. You don't know how to love on that high vibration. You don't know how to forgive. You don't know how to understand because you're in your lower self and you've succumbed to your emotions. But, when you're in touch with your higher self, you're going to realize that the system is really, really trying in so many different ways, in so many different scenarios and things that happen to you. Your emotions are trying to rule you and conquer you. And they know, because they're master sorcerers, they know that, they can manipulate society once they get you emotionally tied into something. And they do it masterfully. And it was the C word thing that was dominating the news cycles for so long now. Now they're onto this war thing. And, 3 months from now, it's going to be a new thing. But the threat of war is a very serious thing. And it's something not to take lightly. It's something to take very seriously because you need to know what they're doing. You need to know what they're up to in order to navigate. And there's a lot of spiritual source players who avoid things because they feel that they're spiritual and da-da-da-da. No, don't be stupid and uninformed. You should know what is going on, not be affected by it. There's a balance to not be affected by the stuff going on, but to know what's going on. Because you know what? If, someone's threatening to drop an anvil right here and they keep talking about it, I don't have to sit here and oh my God, they're going to drop it in. Oh my God, what if it hurts me? What if my break? No, it's very simple to know that. Say, and then just stand over there. Get yourself out of situations. Get yourself, do things respectful of the information, but not being affected and emotionally pulled by the information. So, with all this threats of war and all this stuff going on, do not become emotionally compromised by it. Don't fall into a fear vibration, because that's what they want. And don't live in fear. Live in your power. And always live knowing what they're doing and knowing how to protect yourself. If you're getting a download to store up food or to do this or to move, change locations, do that. Not in fear, just in intelligence. You know what? Hey, I got a download that it's going to start raining and pouring in that spot. I'm not going to stand there. I'm going to buy an umbrella and a rain suit, and I'm going to stay over here. And if it does rain over there, okay, I'm over here. Do what you need to do to keep yourself safe, to keep yourself sound of mind and safe, and raise your vibration. Don't fall into negative, low vibrational emotions. But I just wanted to share that message of prepping for the new world ahead. You know, now that, COVID fear is dissipating, they're going to change the narrative. Be prepared for the narrative switches and changes and what they're going to try to do. And they're not done. They're going to attempt another outbreak. You got to know that they're going to attempt another outbreak. We're right now in the time where they're easing up restrictions, things that you were free to do anyway, but they're, pulling you into psychologically controlling you and manipulating that they are the ones that can allow you to do these things or wear a mask or not wearing a mask when they don't have that power. It's completely fictional. But the normies, they comply and they obey. So now we're in a period where they're easing up restrictions and they're allowing things that they don't have the power to allow. And we're being lulled into a period where things are on the up and up. The truth is it's the same as it's always been. The threat to you has been the same. It's just like, it was never, whatever. Like, I've been traveling, I've been doing whatever I wanted. I never got, an issue. But they're going to manipulate your reality, and sooner or later they're going to come out with another variant and threaten and put restrictions back. So just be prepared for that. They're going to manipulate you with fear in different ways, shapes and forms. They're going to come with the war. Collectively raise your vibration so that we are powerful. We become powerful people because we win in the end. We win in the end. And it comes from the spirit of waking up out of this matrix, co-creating with other powerful source players, and not succumbing to emotion, not succumbing to, not co-creating another fear. A lot of people moved in fear. Don't do that anymore. A lot of people move in fear when they get you afraid, when they get you, scared of an illness, when they get you scared of bombs dropping. You're going to do what you're told. You're going to do whatever they're going to manipulate you like a little monkey to do whatever they want you to do. Stop. Raise your vibration. Become spiritually powerful. Become powerful. Tap into your power and your sovereignty. Conquer your emotions. Know the difference between being wise and conscious, aware of your emotions. Your emotions are guides. They're not meant to be things that defeat you. They're not meant to be things that make you move in anger. Or I'm going to do this to this person. I'm going to not talk to that person. I'm going to do things because I'm angry. I'm going to do things because I'm afraid. I'm scared. So I'm going to fall in line. I'm going to, stop moving in your emotions. Use your emotions as guides to make you better and level you up. Level you up. Do not, live on a low vibration and make decisions in a low vibration because you're going to regret it. All right, guys, that's it for now. Stay strong. Stop complying with these people, with these psychopaths. Until the next one, guys, be well.